All right. So one of the things that we've done to help all of you out as you navigate your new partnership is put together a web page that you can see on my screen right now. And that web page is intended to be a little bit of a resource for you as you listen, as you follow along today, and then as you work through the next couple of months. So I'm going to throw this link right in the chat window so that you can follow along if you'd like. The first thing that we want to talk about, and we don't want to spend a ton of time on this because most of you have already, gone through the presentation of who is RVA and, what do we need to know, but we do think it's great just to give you a little refresher, and maybe for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to sit on the meeting, we just want you to know who we are. So this is our top 5 reasons that districts tend to partner with us. As we look back over the years, and now about 65 districts strong, what are the reasons that districts say they want to be with us? So the first one is that especially on our virtual school side, we have a lot of experience. We've been doing this for a long time. So we started our virtual school in 2005, and it was really small when we started. Our consortium was really small, but throughout the years, as you can see, we've grown and grown and grown. And we then 2014, right about, we added District Connect. So we share those digital curriculum resources that we were already using in the virtual school, share them with all of our partner districts. So you can utilize those same resources at the same bulk cost that we are paying. And this is our consortium. And you can see we're growing, and I don't even know that I have all of the new partners on it. So you could see though that we're really growing rapidly across the state of Wisconsin. Just word is spreading about all the benefits that districts can get by partnering with us. And I want to, now that I say that, I want to show you a spot on our website that you can take a look at partner districts. Sometimes it's nice to see who's in your neck of the woods, right? That's an RVA partner, and try to find other districts that are similar to yours. So if you follow me, I navigated to rvaconnect.org, and then I clicked on About. And this is our listing of partners. So if you zoom in, you can click on any partner district here and see a little bit of information about each of those districts. So just wanted to be able to show you that so you can filter through if you'd like. Next thing, turnkey. Working with Rural Virtual Academy, you have a lot of control. We try to make sure that that's the case because we are entering into a shared services agreement. So we want it to be nice and easy for you to get things started. I'm going to skip through some of these things. And again, we have that local control. How does that look? The full-time virtual team is going to dive into this, but you still maintain control over things like graduation requirements, being involved in monitoring our shared student academic progress, special education, all of those things you still have a voice in. And as you continue on in the consortium and you become an invested member, you have the ability to sit on our board as well. Last, but certainly not least, is you save quite a bit of money when you partner with Rural Virtual Academy. We know that that's a very exciting benefit, and we know how important it is for our school districts to be able to save that money. We want you to keep that funding local as much as you possibly can. So yeah. Last, high quality. We believe in relationships, values, academics, and that filters through every single thing that we do, whether it be with our full-time virtual students or working with all of you. So we believe it's very important to maintain relationships, and we want our partners to value those same things. So that is the quickest RVA overview that I could possibly muster. If at any point you would like the full 1.5 hour presentation again, I would be happy to do that with you. Just let me know and we can sit down and talk through it again. All right, I think what we're going to do now is talk about District Connect. And we've had the pleasure of meeting with a few of you already about District Connect, and we've got some other meetings scheduled. So I'm not going to get into very much detail here because, again, that's a whole other meeting, and we really like to tailor it to your specific district and needs when we talk about this. So we're just going to scratch the surface here on District Connect. But the curriculum offerings, we have independent study courses. And if you click on that independent study course catalog, you'll be able to search through all of the different options available here. The one key that I would want you to take note of, sorry, 2 keys, I changed my mind, is curriculum provider. If you're looking for credit recovery, you're going to want to pick Odysseyware from curriculum provider. So some of you, that's one of your first opportunities into using digital curriculum with RVA. So that might be where you want to get started and you want to browse the catalog. So you would pick Odysseyware there, click search, and it's going to show you all of the Odysseyware offerings. The other thing to keep in mind, I'm going to pop this back to any. Some of you have come to us saying, we have a need for an independent class and we don't have a teacher. We need you to provide the teacher. So what you would do under teacher needed is click yes. You can certainly filter it by the subject area. You know, if you need a mathematics course and you need the teacher provided by us, that's what this search would look like. And now it will show you the courses available to you with a teacher provided. So that's the independent study. And digital access is a slightly different catalog, but basically this is where your in-building teachers can get access to this course catalog within their subject area for $350 per year for the whole school year, as many students as they'd like to enroll in these courses. They can utilize the courses in their entirety, or they could just pick and choose what they'd like, or they really can just use them as a resource, you know, and replicate some things with their students in the classroom. So we don't in any way regulate how the curriculum is used. It's completely up to your local staff's discretion to decide. So that's digital access. Summer school, we are close to the registration window on summer school. How many of you think you might be in need of summer school classes this year for your in-building students? You can throw it in the chat for me if you think you might need that. Okay, I'll skip it then. And that's another thing that we can always talk about. Just reach out if you have any questions about summer school. Sometimes that's a big mountain to climb as you're first getting started in your first couple of weeks of a partnership. But if you do have a need, we want to have a conversation with you about it. All right, the next thing is supplements. So we've got a few supplementary curriculum options. One of them is Alex Math, and the other is Reading Eggs and Math Seeds. So Reading Eggs and Math Seeds tends to be more elementary and a little bit into that middle school level. Alex Math is all of the grade levels. So just again, if that's something that you have an interest in, make a note and we can talk about it more when we meet, or if we've already met, feel free to reach out to us and we can talk about that. RVA Live courses are a little unique in that I often say, they are an option if the stars align. So if you happen to click on RVA classes and you see one that would be just perfect for one of your in-building students, You can absolutely put it on the course registration request sheet, but we cannot guarantee enrollment in it generally until, what do you think, Rachel? Mid to late August is probably a good time frame that we can generally say, yes, you can get into that, or no, you can't. The reason that we have to hold off that long is our live classes are given priority. Excuse me, our full-time virtual students are given priority registration in those live classes because we build that schedule for the full-time virtual school. And then if there are gaps, we can add students in after that is complete. So those are all of the curriculum course options, and I really just skimmed the surface. Do you have any questions about that so far? Okay, perfect. So the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to give you a couple-minute break from hearing my voice, and I'm going to let Rachel talk about how, so you found a course that you like, now it's time to get that course entered in to your registration portal. So Rachel, can you tell me what you'd like me to do on the screen here so that you can talk through this process?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, so you'll look at the catalogs, you would find the course that you're interested in. And then the next step is to go to the partner portal. And here you will see every district that the RVA is partnered with listed here. And you would just click on the name of your school district. So Allie, do you want to load that test one so we don't show anybody's student data?
Yes,
and then you'll see the links here align with those course catalogs that we were just looking at. So depending on what type of service you want to register the student for, you would select the link. So if you want to pick Odyssey Where, and it loads this registration sheet, and you can see a couple sample enrollments there. You'll enter your student information, then you'll enter the information about the course as you saw it in the catalog. Then when you have that done, you'll just let me know that you have a request in. You can just shoot an email to me, Rachel Wellman, and then I'll process that and I'll get the course set up. It's usually a really quick turnaround, just a day or two. Sometimes it does take a little bit longer that first week of the semester when everybody's very busy making requests. But yeah, it's hopefully pretty straightforward and easy to do. And then I don't know if you want to go back here, lower on this page is a view only document where you can see all the requests that have been submitted, no matter what type of service. This has the costing information for business managers. This also includes that student list of students from your district who are enrolled in the full-time virtual school, which I know is a popular stop for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. So you might be asking us, wondering why we have multiple different sheets for these. Each of these services and courses needs different bits of information. And as we keep growing what we're offering, we find that it can be cumbersome for people to visit a spreadsheet with way too much information on it. Not too much, it's all good information, but it can feel like a lot, not knowing which fields you need to populate. And on top of that, we had district administrators and business officials, as Rachel was alluding to, who really did not need to know all of the specifics of what was being entered on a daily basis for services. So Rachel created us that view only document just for checking on things once in a while, and seeing how many registrations are coming in. And you can see for the District Connect, it's pulling from all of those other sheets into a tab here. So you can still see on a high level what's being used. And if you have any questions, then you just reach out to our team and verify what you're seeing. And as she mentioned too, because this is that spot for district administrators, business officials, this is also where you would find that full-time virtual student list if you ever need to double check who's all enrolled in the full-time virtual school. Any other things you wanted to add, Rachel, to the dashboard page?
Not too much. If you go to that partner portal, I just wanted to point out at the bottom of that page, there are additional resources about how to register and filling in the sheets if you have any questions later. Does anybody have any questions right now?
All right, I'm gonna take that one as a no. Yes, so please let us know if you have any questions about how to use these sheets. And as you're starting your RVA folder of bookmarks on your browser, if you find your district's page on this sheet, that would be a really good one. If you haven't already started that bookmarks folder, this might be your first one. So you want to find your district on this partner portal page and bookmark your specific district. Okay. Next on our journey through District Connect is we'd like to talk just a little bit more about our student services and events. So we host a variety of in-person student events. We have a youth leadership summit in October, tends to be student councils who join us for that event. It's in Mosinee, and it is for middle and high school students. We split it into 2 different days because we had a lot of kids in attendance last year and we wanted to give some more opportunity for other districts to join us. We also have a Brain Builders event. It is an in-person STEM event, and that will be taking place in February of next year. Again, we have a middle school day and a high school day. Environmental education. This one is taking place in April of next year, and it will be at the Trees for Tomorrow, and that's in Eagle River, right, Lee? I think, yep. So that one will be a lot of fun. And then our Teens in Action event is designed around students who are interested in advocacy or in government. And we will actually be meeting at the state capitol. So students will be able to come down for a day at the Capitol and join us for a fun day of problem solving. These events are all completely free to you, so your students can attend for free. We also have some great student services down here. Language League is our EL instruction. It is live daily instruction for EL students in your district. So if we created this for districts who have a transient population, they don't have enough students at any given time to employ a full-time EL teacher. So we provide this option for students to join our EL teacher and other students across the state of Wisconsin to have a community and that English instruction on a daily basis. Kaleidoscope Kids is an enrichment opportunity for students in upper elementary, middle school. So oftentimes the students enrolled in this are identified as gifted and talented, but they certainly do not need to be. It is just intended to be an extra fun resource that you can provide for students who you feel might enjoy it. Any questions on those student services or events as you're seeing me tear through them? I saw somebody move, so I know none of you are frozen and you're all still awake. So that's good. I'm happy to see that. Yes, there. Yep. All right, cool. Next up, professional development. Again, professional development is completely free to you. We have a couple of different things going on. One of them is our Growing Connections event. That is taking place on August 9th at Lambeau Field. We would love for you to join us and hear from Sarah Ward. She's a speaker who talks about executive function. And so Sarah Ward will be kicking off the day, and she will have a session at any point throughout the day. So she'll be talking about thinking in an organized way, closing the homework circle, building core capabilities in your staff. How do we build up the adults and staff so that they can support the kids? And then we also have some other fabulous presenters. Lee Cisneros from the Rural Virtual Academy will be talking about meaningful meaningful learning experience with games.
I've heard she's really good.
She is top notch. Yep. Allie Ranum will be talking about connecting with your community online. And then I say all of those tongue in cheek, but we are really excited about this one too. Our EL teacher is putting together a session for districts on supporting English learners in the classroom. Sometimes districts don't necessarily need Language League and that daily instruction, but they have students they need to support and they just don't know where to start. So Anne's going to be doing a session on that. We're really looking forward to it, and we are giving everyone a bag lunch. So if the Packers are practicing at that time, you can just take your bag lunch and walk over and watch the Packers practice. The other thing that we provide for professional development is Power Up. This is our curriculum training series. So we talked about all of those different curriculum options. They are fully supported. So, and fully supported by Lee. She is the person you will get to work with if you're going to be using that curriculum. So Power Up we have some formal options for training. One of those is the day before our Growing Connections event. So you can go to Lambeau on August 8th for half a day and learn about our curriculum. And then the next day, join us for the full Growing Connections event, or Lee can work with you and build something custom that works for you and or your teachers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when Allie says you can come the 8th and the 9th, or anyone in your district can come the 8th and the 9th. You're not committed to both days or one or the other. So whichever one fits your role, that's where you should go.
Yep, exactly. All right, that is about everything I had to cover. Rachel, Lee, did I miss anything really important that these awesome people should know about today? All right, I always have to check. Okay, that's everything I have for District Connect. I think we are going to pop into the next section of things and talk virtual school. Feel free to throw questions in the chat, or, you can use your microphones. We're really okay with it if anyone wants to turn on your microphone and ask a question. But we're going to hop into the virtual school. So who do we have first, ladies, to talk about the enrollment process of the virtual school?
That would be B. Hi, everyone.
Right.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Angie Edis. I'm the enrollment secretary for the full-time virtual side. And I'll give you a rundown of kind of how everything works with the enrollment side of things. The first step, if you have students that are interested in enrolling here at the RVA, you would want to have the families get their students added to the pre-registration wait list on the RVA's website.
Should I show them where that is, Angie?
Yes,
Would that
please.
be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be a quiz for me to see how quickly I can find it. Look, an enroll button. It's amazing. That's where families would go, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yep. So we would encourage you to have your families get added to this list, already this time of year so they can get up and running this summer. Mm-hmm. And then I'll kind of go back to the roadmap here. So the first step then is they would get added to that pre-registration wait list. And then the RVA would be reaching out to these families, depending on when they're on the wait list, any spring open enrollments and any families that were on the list through April 28th. We would then be sending them the RVA online enrollment application information in early June. And then the family would have the option to complete that RVA enrollment application. So the parent would complete the online enrollment application. Once the RVA receives that application, then we would be reaching out to the resident school district and the current attending school, asking for any special education or expulsion records. Once the RVA receives that information back, we would then have our special education team review that special education information, and they would be working with the families to make sure the RVA is able to meet the needs of the students wanting to enroll here at the RVA. Once they go through the special education team, then we would send those enrollment applications to our RVA administration for review. an approval, once we're able to approve the enrollment, we would then be reaching out to the families and letting them know that we're able to approve the enrollment. If there is a student that the RVA is not able to meet the needs of the student and we would be denying the enrollment, we would be also sending a follow-up email to you, the resident school district, letting you know that we're not able to approve that enrollment as well. And then the enrollment would go to our coordinators and counselors who would be building the schedules for students. And they also arrange the orientations for our students wanting to enroll here at the RVA. Does anyone have any questions on the enrollment process at this time?
I do.
Okay.
So, okay, Angie, what would a district do? Because I've seen these emails come through. When a family says, I enrolled in the RVA and family comes to the district, I enrolled in the RVA and I haven't heard anything back. What do I do? What is your answer to those districts generally? How do you help them with that so they can help families right away?
Okay, they could certainly check with the RVA, have the student, or not the student, the family of the student check with the RVA. There could be a couple different dynamics. They could be on a wait list and think that they've already completed the enrollment. They could have maybe reached out to the RVA and not been that far in the process, or we could still be working on the enrollment, the preliminary records request information. So the enrollment may not even be approved at this time. So definitely feel free to reach out to the RVA, the enrollment team. We do have an enrollments email. I know Jen, I believe, will be bringing that up later on down the line, but we do have an enrollments email that we encourage you to reach out to the RVA enrollments team, as we're happy to help with any questions that you have.
Thank you, Angie. It's so good, honestly, to go over this whole process because particularly for new partners, there are a lot of steps in the process to get people into the Rural Virtual Academy. So for them to know that 4 families could say, I'm not sure where I am in the enrollment process. They could be here. They could be here. There are so many places they could be. So definitely take advantage of that enrollments email. I don't know, would one of you want to throw that email address in the chat maybe so that they have it? If there are any questions. Awesome. Do districts, do any of you have any other questions for this enrollment roadmap and what that process looks like? Kind of zoom in, maybe. Anything? All right. Let's hop on to the next thing. Student management systems. Let's talk about where student data lives for these shared students.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jen Harris. I'm the administrative assistant for the RVA, and I'm going to go over where the data is held and who does what reporting, those sorts of things really briefly, so that you have an idea of what to expect and what the future might look like as well. So we actually have 2 different partnership types when it comes to the full-time virtual students. We have that affiliated partnership. So that's the 1-year agreement. All of our new partner districts start out as affiliated. So if you are new to us, this is where you're starting out. With these students, we as the RVA hold the WISE ID. We take care of all the state reporting, which actually funnels through the Medford School District. And we house all the cumulative files, which we actually house for all of our full-time students because we're needing to add information into them, like the report cards and those sorts of things. For the affiliated partners, what the resident district is in charge of is you are taking care of those pupil counts. So you include these students on the 3rd Friday and 2nd Friday pupil count reporting so that you get all of the funding for these students. And then you also house the SPED files. Now, if your district chooses to become an invested member district or that multi-year agreement after the first year or in the future, then things change a little bit. When that happens, the RVA actually becomes a school within your district. You are assigned a code by DPI, the whole bit. So we are literally like another school in your district, your elementary school, middle school, high school, RVA school. So when that transition happens, we still house the cumulative files, but now for these students, the WISE ID comes back to you and you do all of the state reporting like you do for all of the other students in your building. You will continue to include them in your pupil counts because you will still get the funding for them, and you will continue to house the SPED files. So throughout the year, we are then providing data and doing certain things throughout the year that you need to be aware of so that you can be watching for them, or so you know it's one thing you don't have to worry about. So the first thing is we take care of mailing out the grade reports and the transcripts to the families. We take care of the diplomas and the diploma covers for those graduates. And then we provide you with data throughout the year that you need for record keeping and state reporting purposes. So registration information as students enroll with us. We provide you with a list of students prior to third Friday and second Friday so that you have what you need for those count purposes. And then we also provide you with the schedules, the course and teacher information, as well as grades and transcript information so that you can input all of that information into your student management system. So you're all ready to go when those reporting data pulls happen. On the flip side, as the resident district, your role is to maintain those records for transcript purposes in your student management system. So even if you're an affiliated member district where we're doing the state reporting for your students, we still need you to maintain that data in your system because these students are still needing to meet your graduation requirements. So you need that information so everyone's on the same page when we're making sure that they're on track for graduation and all of those sorts of things. We also ask that you attend enrollment and student management presentations put on by the RVA enrollment team so that you're aware of what's going on, and you also have that opportunity to ask questions and those sorts of things. But then to go along with that, if at any time you do have any questions about what to do, if you're looking for information on a particular student, those sorts of things, you can reach out to us at any time and we'll be happy to provide that for you. Does anyone have any questions on that right now? All right, sounds good. I think we're ready to move on to the next topic.
I think you're right. Thank you very much, Jen. There's a lot of information on this slide, as you all know, and I want to remind you that on this new partner orientation page that I linked to at the beginning of our time together and here, all of these things are linked. So these images that Angie and Jen just walked through, if you want to copy that image and share it with your team, all you need to do is click on it. It'll open up in a new window. And if you right click, you can save image as or copy it, and you can throw it right in an email to your staff that may need to know this information. So we want to make it quick and easy, nice and visual for people to understand. All right. I am going to turn off my screen share because we now get to hear all about the full-time virtual school.
Hi everyone, I am Jenna Versh and I am the assistant principal for the full-time side of the RVA, and I also have with me,
hello, I am Kathy Alexander and it says Jen Harris. I had a quick switch locations. We have our 18 to 21-year-old SOAR program graduation happening today, and they did not inform me they were doing karaoke right outside my door. So so I quick switch. So although it says Jen Harris, my name is Kathy Alexander. I still have my other screen open in my desk, just so you know who I am. But I am the Director of Pupil Services and Special Education for the full-time side of the RVA.
all right, so we are excited to share with you today the process for the full-time side of things. So again, if you have students who are interested in enrolling full-time with the RVA, this is kind of those processes that they would follow, and you can contact us with any questions that you may have about this process as well. Linked within this slideshow, we do have our RVA contact sheet. So if you ever have questions about a certain level, whether it's elementary or middle school or high school, if you go out to that RVA contact sheet, it will list all of the different people you can contact with their phone number, extension, as well as email address. So that's always a good sheet to keep handy. I'll just click on it and show you what that looks like. Just as you have a district contact sheet that you'll keep updated with your various contacts, we also have this sheet that we keep updated as well. So again, if you look and you see that you have a question again about a certain high school schedule, you might contact Megan. Or if you have a question about general school information, you might reach out to Sandy, who is our school information representative. So again, a very handy contact sheet to use to know all of the people within the RVA. All right. As mentioned before, we do have 2 approaches within our school. So this is all included within your partnership with us. Again, you might choose to have those online course options for in-building students through the District Connect side of our school, or you might also choose to offer the full-time virtual school for your students as well. So those are 2 different things that we provide to all of the students within your district. As you can see, when we talk about the full-time virtual side of our school, this can be for any students in pre-K all the way through 12th grade. It really keeps your students within your district while they can attend various classes remotely or choose from a variety of our curriculum options. All right, and I'll turn it over to Kathy.
Yeah, and some of why our families choose the full-time virtual school is similar to the reason schools choose to partner with us for the District Connect benefits as well too. We're a virtual school that is supported by the Department of Public Instruction. We work really closely with them for best practices in virtual instruction. We supply all of our families a Chromebook, and we support them with their technology needs. We do provide internet reimbursements as well. We are a public school, so all the supplies and educational needs are free for our families. And what makes us unique compared to a lot of the other virtual schools that we compare ourselves to is we are always putting relationships first. And that means with our students and families as well as with our consortium partners. So as you begin to work with us and us with you, we want to make sure that we're having good communications. Every district works a little differently. And so beyond this orientation, we'll likely be having individual district meetings. I know I like to meet with all the high school staff to go over graduation requirements and things like that. So we want to make sure we have a good working relationship with all of our partner districts. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to us.
Excellent. So as some people hear, a virtual school or virtual education, we always like to emphasize that it's really more than just receiving a Chromebook. We provide a lot of extra support to our students and families and encourage that daily communication with them. So we really encourage them to socialize, take advantage of the opportunities that we provide with various online clubs and activities, as well as our in-person events. So we're excited to offer a lot of those again next year. It's amazing. We have an event director that plans with his coordinators across the state of Wisconsin, just some great events, including, going to a bowling alley, visiting a movie theater, a water park, different museums. So again, we do encourage our students to be active in those events and see them in person as well as online. We encourage, again, our parents to be really involved when participating in their child's education. Depending on the curriculum option, they might take a very active role in being the home mentor and having a part in that daily instruction. And they really work closely with all of our RVA teachers as well. We always say that our RVA teachers are the best in the universe. And again, they do an awesome job reaching out to students, providing that daily instruction to students, meeting with families, updating them about their grades and progress. So again, as a partner with us, you'll hear a lot from our teachers as well, updating you on the progress of all of your students. And never hesitate to reach out if you have a question about a specific student or want to know how they're doing. Definitely reach out, ask us those questions, because again, our goal is that all of our students are doing well and being successful in the online environment. All right, depending on each of our levels, we offer a wide variety of course and curriculum options. So when we look at our elementary school, when students choose to enroll with us, again, we explain all of the different curriculum options, whether they want more of a book-based option or an online live class option. We go through all of those things during what we call our curriculum coordinator call. And our curriculum coordinators will review all of the pros and cons of each curriculum choice and kind of make that final recommendation with the student and the family. As we look at elementary school, we do have some of our families still choosing those book-based options, but then they do also have the option to enroll in live classes. And this continues to become more popular as students get into middle school as well. We're finding that a lot of them, as they get into middle school, like those live class offerings. We also offer what's called an activity period where they can join different clubs and activities online with other students and teachers as well. And then once we do get into high school, we do offer those live classes as our primary curriculum option. Again, there's so many different course offerings as well as dual credit and college course options and lots of different electives that students can take as well. Okay. Also to mention, in our high school, we do have what we call our on-course program as well. So that is also an option for our high school students too.
And what the on-course program is it's an at-risk program for our high school students. So the RVA Virtual School High School is not an at-risk high school, but we do have students that qualify for at-risk needs. And Kelly Williams is here today with us, and she is our on-course coordinator. So if we do find students that would benefit from that program, we work with that family and set them up with Kelly in that program. And then at the high school level, we have our student services team. Megan Lamarche is our high school counselor, and she primarily schedules students who are in grades 12. And we have Jeff Lemahue and Jennifer Jaden, who are our student advisors, and they work with students in grades 9 through 11. And so if you are ever, these three people will be working really closely with the in-building school counselors. So if students have questions about graduation requirements and things like that, these three are in really frequent communication with our in-building school counselors. And then our our coordinators at the high school level, in addition to the advisors and counselor, we have Jill Chasteen. She's our high school special education coordinator. So if we have any students with IEPs, she works with getting those families onboarded and scheduled. Autumn Schley is our high school coordinator. She works with the high school staff on just the various day-to-day things that need to be done and organizing professional development and different events with the staff. And I just mentioned Kelly Williams is our on-course coordinator for working with students at risk.
Excellent. And here's our coordinator team for elementary and middle school. We have Allison Riley, who's our elementary school coordinator. We have Alex O'Connor, who's our middle school coordinator and advisor. And then Nathan Walls is our elementary and middle school special education coordinator. So again, when families choose to enroll with elementary or middle school, they may be hearing from one of our coordinators as they get started in that enrollment process. All right. If you do receive questions from families who are interested in enrolling full-time with our virtual school, you can go out onto our website and have them preview the different curriculum options. So right here is our elementary curriculum options page. And I will post that link in the chat box here. Again, at the top of our website, we have that parent information, so you can find the elementary curriculum option, middle school curriculum options, as well as high school curriculum options. Again, there's special education information out there, as well as some information about our group events, school calendar, student handbooks. All of those, again, are really great resources to kind of start to look through and familiarize yourself with. As you scroll down, again, these curriculum options are designated by grade bands. If they click on that grade band, it will open up our most common curriculum options. There's different videos on there that they can watch. They can look at the link to the different curriculum packages that we order for them. So again, a lot of great information out there on our webpage that they can preview before making that choice. Okay. All right. Any questions about those items so far? All right, then I'll turn it back over to Kathy to talk a little bit more about high school specifics.
Yeah, thank you, Jenna. So at the high school level, we start students out with our live instruction. All of our live classes are 30 minutes in length, and they are also recorded. So if ever a student misses a class, they can always go back and watch that recording. And they always have 24/7 access to their online curriculum, which is where they're going to be submitting their assignments, reading articles, taking exams, those types of things. We also have an independent online option where there is no live instruction component to it. The RVA teacher still oversees the student's progress and is checking in with that student on their progress. And that student has 24/7 access to that online curriculum. So typically when students have shown that they've done really well in the live classes and they might want to take an elective that we don't offer a live option for, we give them that option for independent courses. Students also have the option with our partner districts to take up to half of their classes in building. And when they want to take classes in building, our advisors and counselors have that student and family reach out to the in-building counselor to get them registered. The in-building school has, the brick and mortar school obviously has to approve that student and registers them. And if there would be any reason why that student can't take a class in building, just communicate that back to the RVA. Typically we have students that want to be taking band, choir, shop classes, the type of classes that we don't offer in the virtual setting. But we also have some students that prefer to have a live math class in person as well too. So it can really be any class up to half of their classes. With our resident districts, some of the oversight that falls on the brick and mortar school would be Start College Now and the early college credit program because of the state funding and the resident school is purchasing those courses or having to pay that tuition, obviously the resident school should be approving those. So when a student requests courses through those programs, again, we have them go and work with the in-building school counselor. Any youth apprenticeships or work experience programs are also overseen by the resident district. Because of the state funding, the RVA doesn't take the Carl Perkins or any of those funds from the resident district. So those schools are still responsible for overseeing those programs. And then also just the oversight of those programs, because the student's going to be participating locally within that district, typically for their job placements. Our partner districts also make it available for our students to participate in WIA sports, clubs, and co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Since those students remain students in your resident district, they can do those WIA sports for your local school. They still have to maintain, though, athletic eligibility and follow your athletic code of conduct. So if you do have students that are attending the full-time RVA, we work with your AD. We can set up coach accounts so they can access their grades. Otherwise, the AD or whoever's monitoring eligibility can request a grade report to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing to remain eligible for those sports. And one way that we do that is our progress checks. Every 4 weeks, we are running progress checks and monitoring student grades. If students are getting 2 or more Fs, they're placed on academic probation. Our advisors and counselors are contacting those students and families. And then we are also sending warning letters out to the family and the resident district as well too. So everyone should be on the same page with where our students are at and if they are on academic probation. If by that next 4 weeks, the student's still not doing well, we are usually in more contact with the brick and mortar school saying, hey, we're concerned about their progress and if this is the best fit. For virtual schools, we don't have mandatory attendance laws, but what we do have is a failure to participate law we have to follow, which means if students aren't actively attending their classes, turning in their work, communicating with their teachers, returning emails, phone calls, if parents aren't communicating back and forth, we have to remand them back to their resident district. So typically by, warning 2 or 3, we are in communication with the resident district and that family about if we need to remand that school student back. And this is primarily, happens at the high school level. We try to give every student every chance possible to be successful with us, but we also don't want students avoiding their education by thinking they can go to a virtual school and not have to do their academics. Any questions on any of that? All right, and I did want to add to, with the districts overseeing work experience and youth apprenticeships, those types of things, our students that have IEPs and on course, we are typically, obviously the IEP kind of leads that student's education program, and on course we set up individual graduation plans for those students as well too. So Jill Chastain, or the student's case manager, or Kelly Williams for on course, is often going to be reaching out also to that resident district to discuss work experience for those students, because it might look different than what we typically set up for, say, a youth apprenticeship or work experience. Is we want to make sure that we're meeting the students' needs and setting them up for success with those programs too. So just know we offer a little more flexibility with those students, typically with what that looks like to help support them. This document, it's linked in the slides, so it's a nice, and Allie just shared it out too in the chat. This is a nice handout. If you have families that are interested in enrolling in the full-time virtual school, it just kind of some nice bullet points of what that means. It means that student is still a student within your school district, and that if the student wants to take courses in building, what that might look like. participating in the WIA sports and clubs and those types of things. And then graduation information. We really want to spell out to that family that if they are going to graduate from the Rural Virtual Academy in your district, that the RVA issues the diploma. And so if that student's from Algoma, it's going to say Rural Virtual Academy Algoma. It's not going to be an Algoma High School diploma. It is a different diploma. It holds the same weight as any other public high school in the state diploma, but just so students are aware and families are aware that it's going to look a little different. Our partner students can also choose to walk in either the RVA graduation ceremony, or they can walk in the resident schools graduation ceremony. And we communicate that out with the students' families their senior year, and then also with the districts. We let them know who's planning on participating in what ceremony. And then for local scholarships, since those students still remain students in your district, we ask that your scholarship selection committee make consideration of this. And what we recommend doing is there's some scholarships for your local scholarship pool that probably say needs to be a graduate of, and it lists your high school. So I'm going to pick on Algoma again. So it says a graduate of Algoma High School. You may want to reach out to your scholarship sponsors and say, do you want to also include RVA Algoma High School, or do you want to just change it, that eligibility criteria, to a graduate of the Algoma School District? And so it's obviously the scholarship sponsor's decision on how they want to do that. But sometimes we have a student that has been in the brick and mortar school up through their senior year, and then a medical issue happens, and all of a sudden they need to go to the virtual school for some reason. And a scholarship sponsor wants to award them that scholarship, but because of their eligibility criteria, it technically eliminates them. So just some considerations and discussions to have, for your future students. Any questions? All right, we're moving on. For graduation information, just to touch on that a little bit more, all of our shared students from our partner schools still follow your local district's graduation policy, the requirements listed in board policy. This often looks different than what is in your course guidebook that you hand out to your students in your brick and mortar high school. Oftentimes the guidebook for your brick and mortar students will list specific courses your freshmen take, your sophomores take, your juniors take, and so on. And your board policy will say much more generally, 4 credits of English, 3 credits of math, 3 credits of social studies. We follow that, what's in board policy, just simply sometimes you're not going to have that same course that you may offer specifically to those brick and mortar schools. And we work with the high school team in your brick and mortar school to go over those graduation requirements, what it looks like. We do our best to try and match it as closely as possible. And just make sure that our shared students are getting those graduation requirements. So I know a number of our new partners have already set up a separate meeting with me to go over those graduation requirements. If you haven't yet, please shoot me an email so we can get something set up. We like to have those meetings done. It usually takes no more than like 30 minutes just to review those requirements, but we'd like to have that wrapped up by the end of June, so that as we're scheduling students, we're making sure that they have what they need for graduation requirements. When students do graduate, again, RVA issues the diploma. So your local school does not issue a diploma. Students can only earn 1 diploma. A few years ago, we did have a district that took the RVA's diploma and then also issued their own diploma for a student, and that student went into the military. And that's a big flag for the military when students present 2 diplomas. So we want to make sure students are only getting 1 diploma, and RVA will issue that. So if they're walking in your ceremony, we get that diploma to you so that you can get your board president's signature on there and whoever else needs to sign it, and it's ready for your ceremony. If they're walking with us, we get it to you ahead of time to get those signatures on and return to us so we have it for our ceremony. We also have the RVA has our own academic and technical excellence scholarships that we award. So your students that attend the full-time virtual school are not counted in your GPAs, your class ranks, anything like that. It's a totally separate high school in your school. So, so you don't consider the students that are attending the full-time virtual school in those considerations. Any questions on that? All right. I just have a couple more things I'm going to touch on, and then I think we are going to probably give a little break here. We talked about the RVA events and getting our families and students together in person. There's a link here to our activities page. We are always offering different things going on all over the state, and our families are able to attend those events at either a free or very low cost. We just had, I think it was 1,500 of our students attend a water park event at the Kalahari. We took that place over, but we have very popular events. We have over 15 regional event coordinators, and their jobs are really just planning fun, engaging, academically enriching activities all over the state for our students. All right, last thing I believe, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Jenna, is state testing. That's one more thing that our resident schools oversee with our shared students. So our shared students are going to test at their local schools. Our test coordinators will work with your test coordinators on making sure they're aware of the students that should be reporting. We'll be sharing out our enrollment portal, which Allie touched on before, where you can access all of our shared students and find their contact information and all that. We just wrapped up testing season, so I know nobody wants to talk about that right now. And we share out information in the fall and winter as testing season approaches for the next school year. So unless anybody really wants to dive into state testing right now, I can answer questions, but otherwise we can move on.
That was a good question. All right, anyone else come up with a question over break before we dive in to the wild world of special education? No? All right. Let's see here. Here we go. I will share this screen, but we get to hear from Sam Penry.
Hello, everyone. As Ellie said, I'm Sam Penry. I am the District Connect Director of Special Education for the Rural Virtual Academy. And I did just share in the chat this link as well. It's just off from that main page that Ellie shared at the beginning, but it's a great another place to bookmark if special education is kind of your role and responsibility within the district. And so I just want to talk a little bit about what does our partnership look like in regard to special education. As we know, special education is one of those complex areas of the educational world, and it does make our partnership a little bit more complex in some areas, but not in a way that we can't navigate. And if you have questions or concerns at any time, definitely email me, pick up the phone. I'm going to be emailing out some open office hours this summer where I'd love to connect if you have questions or concerns as well. So it just kind of a visual for how we divide some of those roles and responsibilities for who does what with our virtual students. In the RVA, our staff schedule those annual IEP meetings. We write those IEPs. We do write the PTPs or post-secondary plans for students. We complete progress reports. We implement interventions and progress monitoring for the specific learning disabilities process within our school. And then we rely on you to provide some of those like related type services. So the way that we can kind of keep costs low for the special education students and more money in your district is to rely on you to provide things like speech and language, occupational therapy, physical therapy, deaf, hard of hearing services, vision impaired services, audiology, all of those things. And they might look different when we go through the review revise process now that the students may be in the home more and they are, working from the home. Those services might look a little different. Some of them might be virtual in nature. Some of them might be the student coming into your building, but maybe only once a week versus, twice a week or something like that. And we can definitely have those discussions as a team when students enroll. We ask that you assign a case manager for each student who is enrolled in the RVA from your school. This person can be a different person for each student. It does not have to be the same person for every student. And for example, if a student comes to us and maybe has a specific learning disability, but also qualifies for speech and language, your point person for that person or that student could be the speech and language pathologist who's already part of that student's team. So we want you to have a lot of say in how that works. Some districts will choose to say, our person is going to be our director of special education, and they're going to attend every single one of the RVA meetings. Some districts will say, I want it to be the special education teacher who would normally have that student if they were in building, because I want them in the loop. Some people or some districts say, I want it to be the school psychologist. We want you to control that. I'll be reaching out to you to get those contacts, but I want you to think about what makes the most sense within your district. We do rely on you to conduct those initial and reevaluation meetings and testing for students, and then also the state testing with and without accommodations. I do want to mention that for related services, things like OT, PT, speech and language, sometimes initial evaluations and reevaluations, if you feel like, gosh, we already are really strapped as far as the amount of school psych time that we're getting from our CISA. This person only comes for a half a day once a month, or we have really limited services. If those are services that you're feeling like for your RVA kiddos you'd like to contract with us to provide, we can definitely provide those services for your students through an agreement. There is a cost associated with that, but we try to keep it very reasonable for our partners. And if you're interested, we can definitely talk more about that. We do ask that if you have a student who comes to us and is in regular education and just has a speech and language impairment, those students you would case manage within your district. So if the IEP is a speech only IEP, your SLP would still case manage that student. And then I would connect your SLP with our regular education teacher for that student in the RVA. So that way that person can give educational input at the time of the IEP meeting and then attend that meeting virtually. We do ask that you go into your own portal and fill out information regarding early childhood outcomes. We can give you any and all information that you need for those particular students, but we would ask that you fill out that information. It does get a little bit murky in the sense that next year, if it's your first year with us and you're an affiliated member, we hold the WISE ID for those students. So we actually will be filling out an early childhood outcomes thing with the Medford School District within our portal. In order to get those kiddos in, because they're enrolled within our school for WISE ID purposes, while you're an affiliated partner, and then the next year they'd go back to you. So we would enter them and exit them. But beyond that, if you do become a fully invested partner after next year, then you would hold on to all of those early childhood outcomes for students and do all the entry and exits. We do also ask that you manage and evaluate for all 504 plan students and all of your English learner students as well. So the EL plans and the 504 plans would be managed within your school district. You can definitely contact me, Kathy, one of the school psychologists, and we would be more than happy to get you all of the team members so that way you can get the right people at those tables for those meetings as well. So just again, that was a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on? Okay, moving on. Some of it is a little bit complex. Our staff will need access to your PTP systems. So you would assign our teacher the same as you would assign a teacher in your building. I have our staff go into the WAMS portal and actually request access to your PTP system. So that is sometimes flagged by whoever your approver is in your district. So in some districts, that's the superintendent. In some districts, it's the director of special education. In some districts, it's a curriculum instruction person. So it really just depends on who that person is within your district. And sometimes I might email you if our staff aren't getting access and say, who's this person's requesting access, and we just need a little help getting them in so that way we can get those submitted on time with the IEPs. All of the IEPs that we write will say the Medford School District on the top of them. We share the Skyward system with the Medford School District, so we share the forms that are created within there. We do allow our staff to be in multiple roles at the IEP meeting. So sometimes you'll see a speech and language pathologist or a case manager from our district will be in the role of teacher and LEA representative from the RVA. In some districts say they really want their own LEA at the meeting, and that is completely fine as long as you just let us know who that person is. We can make sure that they are invited and that they are part of the team for that student. We ask that that's kind of funneled through that representative from your district. As far as audit implications, all of the students who come to us in the affiliate year will be under the Medford School District audit. But then if you become a fully invested partner the next year, then all of those students come back to you for your auditing purposes. So I just like districts to know that. So if you see things that you're thinking maybe not compliant or something like that on IEPs, definitely talk to me about that, and I can make sure that we're really reviewing those more stringently. But we do try to do a lot of training with our staff up front about making sure we're meeting all of those audit standards as well. So we do take that pretty seriously here. And so then again, we just have some districts that come to us and they're like, well, we have this student and the student's really complex and we'd really like for this student for, the principal and the associate principal and this teacher who would normally have them and the counselor and the social worker all to be part of the student's team. All of those people can definitely come to the IEP meeting, but to make things a little bit simpler for our case managers, we ask that one representative from your district is assigned for each student. And I say that because some of our case managers may have students from 20 different school districts that are partner districts that they need to invite staff to those meetings for. And so sometimes it can get really complex for them to keep track of like, who are my contacts for this kiddo and make sure that nobody's missed. And we don't want to miss anybody in the communication. So if you have that one person assigned and it's a complex kiddo, then just make sure that that person's getting any and all information to the rest of the team that has that need to know about what's happening with that student. If there are required team members, so for example, if the student is a student with occupational therapy and physical therapy and audiology needs, those are core required team members. We will communicate with and invite all team members that are required for a student. But if they're not required team members, like the counselors and the assistant principals and different staff, then we don't keep track of that, and we ask that goes through that one district representative. We want you to keep the special education files. We will request from you the most recent IEP and the most recent evaluation for each student who comes into the RVA. But we ask that you keep those special education files within your district, and we'll request anything that we might need. And again, my contact information is at the bottom here, and you can click on that if you need to email me or call me. Are there other questions that I can help with? Okay, well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much, Sam. All right. That is almost everything we have today. We just want to do a quick little review for you, because that was about an hour and a half of information. And if I were at the receiving end, I might think, wow, now what? You know, what am I supposed to do right now? It's almost summer. What do we need to do to make sure that we're ready for next year? So we put a couple of items together for you here, the partnership checklist, things that you'll want to make sure that you have ready to go so that we can help you. First thing is get that district contact sheet filled out. So we use that a lot to reach out to you for all of the things that we've talked about today. That is exactly how we know who to contact in your district for each of the specific tasks. So if you have not filled out that contact sheet yet, we'll want to make sure you do that. If you don't know what I'm talking about or how to find it, please just stick around at the end and we will get you connected with your district's contact sheet. Next is to send someone to the school registrar and business orientation. So as I mentioned, that contact sheet is crucial. That is what we will be using to send invitations for this. So you'll really want someone to go to that, because they're going to talk more about some of the things we didn't get into today that are specific to the school registrars and business office. Next up is that partner portal. Make sure that you've got your page bookmarked and that you understand where to find information. Even if you don't need to enter anything yet, just familiarize yourself with it a little bit. And keep in mind, for District Connect purposes, any of the services for students or course requests, you can start entering them for next year already. So if you are scheduling and you have a list of students you need to put in a class, put them in now, take that off of your plate so that you don't have to worry about it over the summer. And that helps us with planning as well.
And for the full-time virtual students, in that portal, there will be a tab for all your active students that are in the full-time virtual school. So it's a great place to bookmark to make sure you know who's attending with us too.
Definitely.
Yep. And just to add to that, within that portal, I get a lot of people who email me and say, can you send me a list of all the special education students? When you go to the list of your full-time students, it will indicate which students have IEPs. So you should be able to just look at that to reference who your special education students are enrolled with us as well.
Perfect. Yeah, we want it to be a one-stop shop for you so that you can find everything that you need. And if you can't find what you need, there's an easy way to contact us. Next up is familiarize yourself, with new student enrollments, and be sure to send those interested families to the RVA enrollment page. So it's another one to bookmark if you're someone who's working with families regularly who might be interested in enrolling in the full-time virtual school. Schedule a 30-minute meeting with Kathy if you have not already to confirm high school graduation requirements. You want to get that taken care of before June 30th, since your partnership starts on July 1st. Last up is to schedule a meeting with RVA's District Connect team to discuss your options. We'd love to meet with you before summer, we get too far into summer so that you know everything that's available to you. Again, we will not expect you to remember everything. We're here to help you, but just want to plant that seed so that you're ready for next year. RVA team, is there anything else we think that our new districts might want to take care of before the school year wraps to help them be more successful over the summer and next year?
I will stick around for any questions and stuff, but I just really appreciate everyone taking the time to meet with us this morning. I know how crazy, hectic this time of the year is for everyone. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today.
I will second that, and we'll all hang around here for any specific questions you might have. And you have this resource available to you now. So if you do have a question and you're already on that page, you can fill out this form at the bottom, and we'll get you an answer to your question. So thank you very much for your time today. Welcome to the RVA family. We're excited to have you. We know it's going to be a great upcoming year. Thanks, everyone.